You stand in the council chamber of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, 23 years old, your brown robes still carrying the acrid smell of smoke and blaster discharge from the Battle of Christophsis, where your master died 3 days ago. Master Dovin Kerr, a Jedi Knight of 42 years who trained you for 6 of them, who taught you the 7 forms of lightsaber combat and the principles of the living force, who spoke with patience when you struggled with meditation, and praised you when you finally achieved a force-induced levitation of 7 objects simultaneously. Master Kerr is gone, his body torn apart by droideka destroyer units while he held a corridor long enough for clone troopers to evacuate civilians from a bombed residential tower. You watched through the scope of a macro binocular from 300 meters away as the shields deflected his lightsaber strikes and the blaster cannons fired in synchronized bursts that overwhelmed his defenses. Watched him fall in pieces that scattered across Duracrete still burning from plasma, heard his final transmission over the comlink, his voice breaking through static. Padawan, continue the mission. Remember the code. The transmission cut to white noise and you stood there with the macro binoculars shaking in your hands, while Clone Commander Brix placed a hand on your shoulder and said nothing because there was nothing to say. The Jedi Council, assembled in their circular chamber with its tall windows overlooking the cityscape of endless towers, informs you that a new master has been assigned. Master Kirin Vol, a consular who specializes in diplomacy rather than combat. Yes, kind man with graying hair and eyes that hold the calm of decades of meditation. He stands beside you now, radiating serenity through the Force, and you want to scream because what you feel is not serenity but rage, a hot, burning thing coiled in your chest like a living serpent. Master Yoda's ears twitch as he regards you from his council seat, his ancient eyes narrowing slightly. Sense much anger in you, I do. Dangerous anger is. Let go, you must. His syntax, usually endearing in its peculiarity, now grates against your nerves like sandpaper on raw skin. I understand, Master Yoda, you reply, your voice carefully controlled. The words emerging flat and emotionless because you have learned to hide your feelings from Force sensitives through years of training, learned to create a shield around your inner turbulence. But the shield is thin now, cracking under the pressure of grief and fury that demands release. They dismiss you, and Master Val walks beside you through the temple corridors, speaking of the importance of detachment, of releasing your connection to Master Kerr, of accepting death as a natural transition. His words are meant to comfort, but they feel like acid poured into an open wound. That night you lie in your quarters, a small room with a meditation mat, and a viewport showing the endless traffic streams of Coruscant, and you do not sleep. You stare at the ceiling and you see Master Kerr's death replaying in perfect detail, and the rage grows until your hands are shaking and sweat soaks through your sleep tunic and you want to kill something, want to make someone pay for what was taken from you. The mission comes 2 weeks later. Diplomatic reconnaissance on Onderon, a world caught between separatist influence and Republic loyalty, where intelligence suggests a separatist base is hidden in the jungle wilderness. You accompany Master Val and 2 clone troopers, landing at the outskirts of Isis, the capital city built on plateaus above the deadly forests below. The city is beautiful in its architecture of ancient stone and modern technology merged. But you barely notice because you are focused on the mission parameters, on searching for enemy positions, on anything that will distract from the constant burning in your chest. On the 3rd day, while investigating a ruined temple in the lower city, a structure abandoned centuries ago and now used by smugglers and outcasts, you encounter him, a man in a dark cloak that conceals his features, standing in a chamber lit by shafts of sunlight penetrating through cracks in the ceiling. He should not know you are there. You approached with Jedi stealth, your presence in the Force minimized to near invisibility, but he speaks your name, your actual name, not your designation as Padawan, but the name you were given at birth before the Jedi took you at age 5. Kael Verin, he says, his voice smooth and cultured, emerging from the shadow of his hood. "I have been waiting for you." Your hand moves to your lightsaber hilt, but you do not ignite it yet. Master Vol is 3 levels above, investigating another section of the ruins. The clone troopers are watching the perimeter. You are alone with this stranger who should not know your name. Who are you? Someone who understands your pain. He steps forward, and you see pale hands emerge from the cloak's sleeves, long-fingered and elegant. Someone who knows what it is to lose a master to violence and to feel the galaxy's indifference to that loss. The Jedi teach detachment, yes? They say release your grief, let go of attachment, accept that death is merely transformation into the Force. But Master Kerr didn't transform, did he? He died screaming your name while you watched, unable to help. And the Council's response was to assign you a new master within days, as if 6 years of training and trust and shared danger meant nothing, as if he was merely a position to be filled. The accuracy of his words makes your chest tighten with something between anger and recognition. How do you know about Master Kerr? I make it my business to know about Jedi who have been wronged by their Order's cold philosophy. The man reaches into his cloak and produces an object, a small pyramid of dark metal and red crystal, its surface covered in strange angular inscriptions that seem to shift when you look at them directly. Do you know what this is? You recognize it from your studies of Force history. A Sith holocron, an ancient repository of dark side knowledge, forbidden by the Jedi Order and supposed to be secured in the Temple's restricted archives. That's impossible. Those are destroyed or locked away. Most are. This one was overlooked, buried on a forgotten world, waiting for someone with the will to use it. He extends the holocron toward you, and you feel its presence in the Force, a cold, pulsing energy that makes your skin prickle with goosebumps. The Jedi fear knowledge like this because it challenges their doctrine of peace through passivity. But the ancient Sith understood something the Jedi deny, that emotion is not weakness but strength, that anger and hatred are fuel for power beyond what meditation and serenity can ever achieve. Your master died because the Jedi philosophy made him focus on defense and sacrifice. If he had embraced his anger, used the full potential of the Force without the Council's restrictions, he would have slaughtered those droids and lived. That's not true, you say, but your voice lacks conviction because part of you, the part that burned with rage during the Council meeting, that wanted to see the Separatists suffer for what they did, wonders if perhaps it is true, isn't it? The man's hood shifts and you catch a glimpse of a smile, though his face remains mostly hidden. Tell me, Kyle, when was the last time the Jedi won a decisive victory in this war? Every battle is measured in acceptable losses, strategic withdrawals, minimizing casualties. The Jedi fight not to win, but to endure. The Sith fought to conquer, to dominate, to impose their will on the galaxy through sheer power. Which philosophy sounds more likely to actually end this war? He leaves the holocron on a stone pedestal at the chamber's center, the red crystal glowing faintly in the dim light. I will return to this place in 3 days at sunset. If you wish to learn what the Jedi will never teach you, bring the holocron. If not, destroy it and continue living with your impotent grief. He turns and walks into the shadows at the rear of the chamber, and when you rush forward to follow, the corridor beyond is empty, no trace of his passage, no disturbance in the Force. To indicate which direction he went, you stare at the holocron for a long moment, your hand hovering near it, feeling the cold energy radiating from its surface. Every lesson from the temple screams at you to leave it, to report its existence to Master Vol, to have it secured and contained. But the rage in your chest pulses in rhythm with the holocron's glow, and before you consciously decide, your hand closes around the metal pyramid. It's cold against your palm, and the moment you touch it, a whisper echoes in your mind. Not words exactly, but impressions of power and freedom and vengeance that make your breath catch. You hide the holocron in your utility belt beneath your tabards where it won't be visible, and when Master Val asks what you found in the temple, you lie for the first time since becoming a Padawan. Nothing, Master. Just old smuggler equipment and animal nests. That night, in your quarters at the Ease's safe house where the mission team is lodged, you wait until Master Val and the clones are sleeping. You take the holocron to the refresher, the only room with a locking door, and sit on the cold tile floor with the pyramid in your lap. Your hands shake as you channel the force into it, seeking the activation mechanism that your studies mentioned exists in all holocrons. For several minutes, nothing happens, and you begin to think perhaps your force ability is insufficient. Then the pyramid's sides separate with a mechanical click, its segments floating apart and rotating, and from its center projects a holographic figure. The figure is humanoid, but clearly not human, skin the color of dried blood, eyes burning yellow-white like molten metal, facial features sharp and predatory. Ancient Sith, from an era thousands of years past when their empire stretched across star systems. The hologram speaks in a language you don't recognize, harsh syllables that hurt your ears and then shifts to basic as if sensing your incomprehension. I am Darth Reyes, Dark Lord of the Sith in the age before the Republic's ascension. You who activate this holocron, are you strong enough to hear truth? Yes, you manage, your voice barely above a whisper. The Jedi teach that the Force has a light side and a dark side. That one must be chosen over the other. This is a lie born from fear. The Force is neither light nor dark. It simply is, a power that flows through all living things and can be shaped by will and emotion. The Jedi choose serenity and call it enlightenment. We Sith chose passion and achieved mastery. Tell me, Seeker, do you burn with emotion, anger, hatred, love, desire? I'm angry, you admit, the words tumbling out. My master died, and the council acts like it doesn't matter, like I should just forget him and move on. The hologram's burning eyes seem to stare directly into you. That anger is power waiting to be harnessed. The Jedi demand you extinguish it because they fear what you could become if you embraced it. But anger-focused is strength. Hatred-directed is a weapon sharper than any lightsaber. The dark side of the Force, what we call it only because the Jedi named it so, is fueled by emotion. Every feeling you've been taught to suppress is energy that can be converted to power. Grief becomes rage. Rage becomes strength. Strength becomes dominance. Would you learn these teachings? You should say no. You should deactivate the holocron and throw it into the nearest river. But instead, you hear yourself say, yes, teach me. For the next 2 nights, while the mission continues during the day and you play the role of dutiful Padawan, you spend hours in secret communion with Darth Reyes' holocron. He teaches you meditation techniques that are inverse to Jedi practice. Instead of emptying your mind and connecting to the cosmic force, you focus on your anger, feeding it, expanding it until it fills your consciousness. He shows you basic dark side abilities, how to channel emotion through the Force to enhance physical strength, how to project fear into the minds of weaker-willed beings, how to draw on pain, your own or others, as fuel for Force powers. The exercises are uncomfortable, making your head ache and your stomach clench with nausea, but there's also an exhilaration you've never felt in Jedi meditation, a sense of power growing inside you like a second heartbeat. On the 3rd day, at sunset as the stranger specified, you return to the ruined temple alone. Master Val believes you are meditating in your quarters, and you feel a stab of guilt at the deception, but the guilt is quickly consumed by anticipation. The cloaked man is waiting in the same chamber, and this time, when he lowers his hood, you see his face. Human, middle-aged, with features that might be handsome if not for the yellow tint to his eyes and the network of faint scars across his cheeks and forehead. A Sith, or at least someone who has walked deep into the dark side. You came, he says, sounding pleased, and you accessed the holocron. I can sense the dark side's touch on you, faint but present. Tell me, Kyle Verin, what have you learned? That the Jedi are wrong about emotion. That power comes from passion. The words feel dangerous in your mouth, heretical, but also thrilling. Good. But knowledge from a holocron is only the beginning. True mastery requires a living teacher, one who can guide you through the transformation from Jedi weakling to Sith apprentice. I can be that teacher, if you have the strength to walk this path. He extends his hand, palm up, an invitation. But understand, if you take my hand, if you choose this path, there is no return. The Jedi will hunt you as a traitor. Your friends will become enemies. Everything you were will be burned away to forge what you will become. The price is steep, but the reward is power beyond what any Jedi achieves. Power to never again watch helplessly while those you care about die. You think of Master Kerr falling in pieces. You think of the Council's serene indifference. You think of the rage that has burned in your chest for weeks and will not be extinguished by meditation or time. And you reach out and take his hand. His grip is firm and cold, and when he smiles, you see his teeth are too white, too perfect, like a predator's. Then follow me, Padawan Kyle. Or should I say, former Padawan. Your training in the ways of the Sith begins now. He leads you through the ruins to a concealed hangar where a small starship waits, a modified courier vessel painted matte black, its transponder codes hidden from Republic tracking. You board without looking back, without leaving a message for Master Vols or the clone troopers, simply vanishing from the mission. The ship breaks atmosphere within minutes and jumps to hyperspace, and you watch Onderon shrink and disappear, the last world you will see as a servant of the light. The journey takes 4 days, traveling through hyperspace lanes that avoid Republic patrols and separatist territories, heading for the Outer Rim and beyond into regions marked as uninhabited on Republic star charts. Your new master, he has not yet told you his name, saying names are earned through action, not granted at birth, spends the journey testing you. He asks questions about your training, your knowledge of Force abilities, your combat experience. He has you demonstrate lightsaber forms, watching critically and pointing out every flaw in your technique, every hesitation born from Jedi philosophy of defense first. You fight like you're trying not to hurt your opponent, he sneers during one sparring session with training sabers. The Sith strike to kill. There is no mercy, no restraint. An enemy exists to be destroyed. When the ship finally drops from hyperspace, the viewport shows a world of red sand and jagged black rock, its atmosphere hazy with perpetual dust storms, twin suns hanging low on the horizon like watchful eyes. You recognize it from your studies of Sith history, though you never thought you'd see it with your own eyes. Korriban, the ancient burial world of the Sith, where tombs of dark lords stretch for kilometers beneath the surface, their power still, echoing through the Force even after millennia. The ship lands at a small outpost near the Valley of the Dark Lords, and you disembark onto sand that crunches beneath your boots, the air hot and dry enough to steal moisture from your lungs with each breath. The Force here feels wrong, not absent like on some dead worlds, but twisted, malevolent, as if the dark side has soaked into the very stone and sand. Your new master leads you into the valley, walking between enormous statues of Sith Lords carved from black rock, their features eroded by sandstorms but still recognizable as beings of terrible power. You pass through the entrance of a tomb marked with inscriptions in the angular Sith language, descending stone stairs lit by torches that burn with an eerie green flame that produces no smoke. The tomb is a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, walls covered in ancient writings and bas-reliefs depicting scenes of conquest and slaughter. You walk for what feels like hours, descending deeper until you reach a chamber at the tomb's heart. This room is circular, perhaps 20 meters across, its domed ceiling supported by pillars carved to resemble skeletal hands reaching upward. At the chamber's center stands an altar of black obsidian, its surface polished to mirror smoothness, but stained with darker marks that might be ancient blood. And chained to the wall across from the altar is a man, human, perhaps 40 years old, wearing the tattered remains of smuggler's clothing, his face bruised and his wrists raw from the binders that hold him suspended. He's conscious, his eyes widening with desperate hope when he sees you. "Please," he gasps, his voice hoarse. "Please help me. This madman kidnapped me, brought me here. I have a family on Coral, 2 daughters. My wife is sick. Please, you're Jedi, right? Your robes. Help me." Your master moves to stand beside the altar, his expression neutral. "This is your first true lesson, Kyle. Not theory from a holocron, not philosophy discussed in safety, but action that cannot be undone. The Jedi teach defense of the innocent. The Sith teach domination through strength. This man is a smuggler who saw too much of my operations, who could report to Republic authorities. He is a threat to my existence, and therefore must be eliminated. But I will not kill him. You will." The words hit you like a physical blow, and you step backward involuntarily. "What? No, I can't just murder. Cannot? Or will not?" Your master's voice sharpens. "You sought power, Padawan. You wanted strength to prevent future losses like your master's death. But power is not given freely. It is taken. It is earned through action that the weak call evil and the strong call necessary. This man's life means nothing in the grand scale of the galaxy. Billions die every day in this war. One more death is statistically irrelevant. What matters is whether you have the will to do what must be done." The smuggler is sobbing now, pulling against his chains, begging in a stream of words that blur together into meaningless noise. You look at your hands, at the Jedi robes you still wear, and you feel something tearing inside your chest. Not the rage you've grown familiar with, but something colder, a realization that you've come too far to turn back. If you refuse, your master will likely kill you both. If you return to the Jedi, you'll be interrogated about the holocron, about your disappearance, possibly expelled from the Order. And beyond those practical concerns, there's a darker truth. Part of you is curious. Part of you wants to know what it feels like to hold life and death in your hands. "How?" you ask, your voice sounding strange and distant to your own ears. "With the Force. Not quickly, not mercifully. Reach out through the Force, find his throat, and squeeze. Close his airway. Watch him die slowly enough to understand what you're doing, to feel his life fade beneath your will. This is how you'll learn that life and death are simply tools, that mercy is a luxury of the weak, that power requires the willingness to take action others cannot." You raise your hand toward the smuggler, your palm open, fingers splayed. In the Jedi Temple, you practiced telekinesis on objects, moving training remotes, lifting meditation stones, precise manipulation of mechanical components. You've never used the Force on a living being with intent to harm. Your hand shakes as you reach out through the Force, finding the man's throat, feeling the structure of his trachea and the blood vessels feeding his brain. It would be so easy to squeeze, to apply pressure that would crush cartilage and strangle the life from him. The smuggler's eyes meet yours, and you see in them the same terror you felt watching Master Kerr die. "Please," he whispers one final time. "My daughters' names are Sala and Cora. Please don't make them orphans." Your fingers curl into a fist, and through the Force you squeeze. The man's eyes bulge, his face flushing red as his airway closes. He makes a horrible choking sound, his body convulsing against the chains, legs kicking uselessly at empty air. You hold the grip, feeling his panic through the Force, tasting his fear like copper on your tongue. 5 seconds. 10. His struggles weaken. 15 seconds. His face turns purple. 20 seconds. His movements become spasms. 25 seconds. A wet stain spreads across his pants as his bladder releases. 30 seconds. He goes still, head lolling forward, lifeless. You release the force grip and your hand drops to your side. You're shaking violently, your breath coming in short gasps, sweat pouring down your face despite the tomb's cool air. You killed him. You murdered an unarmed prisoner. The realization is a weight crushing down on your chest, making it hard to breathe. But beneath the horror, there's something else. A thrill of power, the knowledge that you bent reality to your will and ended a life with a gesture. It's intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. Your master approaches, placing a hand on your shoulder. Well done, my apprentice. You have taken the first step. The Jedi would call this evil, but they are hypocrites who kill in war while claiming moral superiority. You killed cleanly, efficiently, for strategic necessity. There is no shame in power honestly wielded. Now come, your true initiation begins. He leads you to the altar, directing you to kneel before it. From his robes, he produces a curved dagger, its blade dark metal etched with Sith runes that glow faintly red. He begins to speak in the Sith language, his voice taking on a ritual cadence, and you feel the force in the chamber responding, swirling like invisible wind. The air becomes cold enough to see your breath, and the corpse hanging on the wall twitches as if something is feeding on the residual energy of death. Place your hand on the altar, your master commands in basic, and you comply, your palm flat against the obsidian's cold surface. He continues the ritual chanting, and then, without warning, brings the dagger down, slicing across your palm. Pain flares hot and bright, blood welling from the cut and spreading across the altar's black surface, and the blood seems to disappear into the stone as if being absorbed. Your master takes your bleeding hand in both of his, speaking in basic now so you can understand. Speak the oath. Repeat my words. I renounce the light. I renounce the light, you hear yourself say, your voice echoing in the chamber. I embrace the dark side of the Force. I embrace the dark side of the Force. I swear loyalty to the Sith teachings and to my master who guides me. I swear loyalty to the Sith teachings and to my master who guides me. I accept that powers, the only truth, that the strong rule the weak, that I will rise through strength or fall through weakness. I accept that power is the only truth, that the strong rule the weak, that I will rise through strength or fall through weakness. I am Sith. I am free. I am Sith. I am free. As you speak the final words, something changes. Heat explodes in your chest, spreading through your body like liquid fire flowing through your veins. The Force surges into you, through you, no longer the gentle stream you felt as a Jedi, but a raging torrent that fills every cell. Your vision blurs, the chamber spinning, and you see images that aren't there. Ancient Sith lords rising from their tombs, armies of dark side warriors conquering worlds, power beyond imagination. Your hand on the altar burns where the blood flows, and you realize the altar is burning a mark into your flesh. A brand in the shape of a Sith symbol that will scar permanent and visible. When the sensation fades and your vision clears, you're lying on the stone floor gasping for breath, your entire body trembling with exhaustion. Your master stands over you, and when he speaks, there's satisfaction in his voice. Rise, my apprentice. You have sworn the oath. You have taken the first blood. The dark side has accepted you. From this moment, you are no longer Kael Verin, failed Padawan of a weak order. You are something new, something powerful. In time, you will earn a Darth name, but first you must prove yourself worthy through training. Your real education begins now. The training is agony given form, suffering systematized into pedagogy. Your master takes you to a training chamber deeper in the tomb, a circular arena surrounded by stone benches where ancient Sith spectators once sat to watch duels. The chamber has been modified with modern equipment. Training droids, weapon racks, medical supplies in sealed containers. Your master explains the philosophy as he activates training droids. The Jedi teach through encouragement and positive reinforcement, gradually building skill through patient practice. The Sith teach through pain and survival. You will learn because failing to learn means death or disfigurement. Pain will be your teacher, fear your motivation, anger your strength. The first lesson is endurance through suffering. Your master has you stand in the center of the arena, arms outstretched while he circles you. The dark side is fueled by powerful emotion, anger, hate, fear, suffering. To master it, you must experience these emotions at their peak and learn to channel them into power. I will attack you with Force lightning. You will remain standing. When you fall, the session ends and we begin again. Your goal is to convert the pain into rage, the rage into strength, the strength into defense. Eventually, you will be able to absorb the lightning into your body, or deflect it. But first, you must learn to withstand it. He raises his hands, and blue-white lightning arcs from his fingertips, striking your chest. The pain is beyond anything you've experienced. Worse than any training injury, worse than any wound in combat. Every nerve in your body ignites simultaneously, your muscles spasming and contracting, your vision going white with the intensity. You scream, a raw sound torn from your throat, and you fall to your knees, then to your side, curling into a fetal position while the lightning continues to pour into you. It feels like being burned alive from the inside, like your blood is boiling in your veins. The lightning stops and you lie there shaking, bile rising in your throat, every muscle aching from the violent contractions. Your master's voice comes from above, cold and clinical. 30 seconds. Disappointing. Again. You force yourself to stand, legs wobbling, vision still spotted with after-images. The lightning strikes again and you fall even faster this time, your body already damaged and unable to resist. Again you stand, and again the lightning comes. This continues for 3 hours. You lose count of how many repetitions after the first 20, until you cannot stand anymore, until your body simply refuses to obey commands, and you lie on the stone floor twitching and crying without sound. Your master drags you to a corner where a medical droid waits, and the droid administers Bacta injections and stimulants that accelerate healing but do nothing for the pain. You sleep for 12 hours straight on the cold stone, and when you wake, every muscle feels like it's been shredded and poorly reassembled. Your master is waiting with water and a protein ration. Eat, rest. In 6 hours, we continue. The training continues daily for months, varying the methods but maintaining the core principle. Pain as education. He attacks you with Force push, slamming you into walls until you learn to anchor yourself through the Force using rage as stability. He engages you in lightsaber duels with training blades that aren't lethal but leave savage burns, and he beats you methodically, breaking bones and rupturing organs until you learn to channel pain into counterattacks. The training saber burns scar your arms and torso, marking you permanently with evidence of your education in violence. Within 3 months, your body is a map of trauma, broken ribs that healed crooked, a shattered collarbone that aches in cold air, burn scars crisscrossing your chest and back, fingers that were deliberately broken and reset improperly to teach you to fight through injury. Your face bears a long scar from your left temple to your jaw, where a training blade cut deep. But the physical changes are nothing compared to what happens inside. The rage that once burned hot now runs cold and constant, a river of hatred that you can tap at will. The Force responds to your anger with power you never accessed as a Jedi, and you begin to understand what your master meant. Emotion is not weakness, but fuel. And suffering refines that fuel into something pure and terrible. 1 year into your apprenticeship, your master assigns a mission that will sever your last connection to your former life. Your friend from the temple, Padawan Kyle Naren, is currently on Nar Shaddaa investigating smuggling operations. He was your closest companion during training. Go to him, tell him you escaped from captors, that you want to return to the Jedi. And when he trusts you completely, Kill him. The assignment is a test of loyalty and a severance ritual, cutting away the final thread binding you to who you were. You want to refuse, want to say there are limits to what you'll do, but you've already crossed too many lines to pretend at morality now. Kyle was your best friend for 15 years, the person who helped you through your darkest moments of self-doubt, who celebrated your accomplishments and mourned your losses. And now, he's an obstacle to your transformation. You find him in the refugee sector of Nar Shaddaa, that vertical city of crime and desperation where Kyle is working undercover to disrupt Hutt trafficking operations. When he sees you, his face transforms with joy and relief. He embraces you, and you feel him shaking with emotion. We thought you were dead. There were reports of a crashed ship and then nothing. Where have you been? You spin a story about being captured by pirates, held for ransom, eventually escaping. Kyle believes every word because he trusts you completely, and that trust is a weapon you'll use against him. You spend 3 days together, and it's almost like old times. Sharing meals, exchanging stories about the war, meditating together in the small apartment Kyle uses as a safe house. At night, when he sleeps, you lie awake and plan his murder. On the third night, you activate your lightsaber, the one you built following Sith instructions, powered by a synthetic red crystal grown in dark side rituals, and drive the blade through Kyle's back as he sleeps. He wakes with a gasp, his eyes finding yours in the darkness, and the look of betrayal and confusion in his face is something you'll remember forever. "Why?" he manages to whisper, blood bubbling at his lips. You have no answer that would satisfy either of you, so you say nothing, just watch as the light fades from his eyes and he dies on the bed you shared as children in the temple dormitories. You stand over his corpse and wait for guilt, for horror, for some human reaction to murdering your closest friend. But you feel only emptiness, a void where emotions should be, and that absence terrifies you more than any feeling could. You contact your master to report mission success, and when you return to Korriban, he examines you with satisfaction. "Look at yourself," he commands, and you approach the polished metal mirror in the training chamber. Your eyes, once brown and warm, now burn with yellow fire. The iris is ringed with sulphurous color that marks dark side corruption. Your skin has paled to an unhealthy gray-white, as if the light has been leached from your flesh. The veins in your neck and hands show dark beneath the skin, pulsing with corrupted blood. You are 24 years old, but look 10 years older, the dark side aging you prematurely, consuming your vitality even as it grants you power. The physical corruption has begun, your master says. This is the price and the proof. The dark side transforms flesh as it transforms spirit. 2 more years of training follow, and with each month you become less recognizable as the Padawan who fled Onderon. Your hair thins and falls out in patches. Your body becomes gaunt, muscle replaced by wiry sinew. Your fingers elongate slightly, developing a claw-like quality. You master abilities forbidden to Jedi. Force lightning that can reduce enemies to convulsing husks. Force choke that crushes throats from across rooms, mind manipulation that breaks wills and extracts secrets. You participate in atrocities, raiding settlements for slaves, torturing prisoners for intelligence, executing Republic operatives. Each act of violence deposits another layer of darkness over what remains of your conscience until you can no longer remember what it felt like to care about the suffering of others. Then comes the final test. The one that will determine whether you are truly Sith or merely a failed experiment. Your master summons you to the communications chamber and displays a hologram. Master Kiran Vol, the Jedi consular assigned to replace Master Kerr, is on Mustafar negotiating with mining corporations. Intelligence indicates he still searches for you through the Force, still believes you can be redeemed and returned to the light. "Kill him," your master commands. Destroy the last symbol of your Jedi weakness. Prove you are mine completely. Mustafar is a hell world of active volcanoes and rivers of molten rock, the air thick with ash and sulfur that burns your lungs even through a rebreather. You find Master Val on a landing platform overlooking a lava flow, and when he sees you, his face illuminates with desperate hope. "Kale, you're alive. I felt you in the Force, felt your pain. Let me help you. Whatever they've done, whatever you've become, it's not too late. The light is still there inside you." You ignite your red blade in response, and Master Val's expression crumbles as understanding arrives. His own blue lightsaber springs to life, and he settles into a defensive stance. "What have they done to you?" His voice breaks with grief. The duel is brief and brutal. Master Val is skilled, a master of Sorasu defensive techniques, but you fight with Huyo, the aggressive form that channels rage into overwhelming offense. You attack with force lightning, with telekinetic strikes that hurl debris, with blade work that abandons all defense in favor of killing blows. Within 5 minutes, you've driven him to the platform's edge, and a final force push sends him stumbling backward. He catches himself on the railing with one hand, his lightsaber tumbling into the lava below. He hangs there, suspended above certain death, and looks up at you with eyes full of compassion rather than fear. "I don't blame you for this, Kyle. I know this isn't who you are. You can still choose differently. Please." You place your boot on his fingers and press down, feeling bones crack beneath your weight. "Goodbye, Master," you say, and step harder. His grip fails and he falls, screaming into the molten rock. You watch his body consumed by fire and feel absolutely nothing. When you return to Korriban, your master performs the final ritual. In the tomb's central chamber, before the altar where you swore your first oath, he bestows upon you a Darth name, a Sith title earned through blood and betrayal. You are no longer Kyle Verin, fallen Padawan. You are Darth Ravis, Lord of the Sith, my apprentice and inheritor of ancient power. Rise and claim your place in the Order of Darkness. You rise wearing the black robes and armor of a Sith Lord, your face hidden beneath a hood, your yellow eyes the only color visible in the shadow. You look at your reflection in polished obsidian and do not recognize the being staring back. Your features have become almost skeletal, skin pulled tight over bone, your eyes burning with perpetual fury. Your hands are clawed, fingers stained black to the first knuckle from repeated use of force lightning. You are 27 years old, but could pass for 50, your body ravaged by 3 years of dark side immersion. The years that follow blur together in a nightmare of violence and power. You serve your master in the shadows of the Clone Wars, assassinating Jedi who venture into remote sectors, disrupting Republic operations, torturing prisoners for information that feeds the separatist war machine. You participate in massacres of entire villages suspected of harboring Jedi sympathizers. You experiment with dark side alchemy, twisting living creatures into monstrous servants. Each atrocity adds to your power, and each addition of power hollows out more of your humanity until you are a shell filled with hatred and ambition. But the rule of two demands what it has always demanded. The apprentice must eventually challenge the master. You begin to notice your master's weaknesses, how his reflexes have slowed, how his force lightning lacks its former intensity, how meditation leaves him vulnerable for longer periods. The Sith philosophy is clear. When the apprentice surpasses the master, the apprentice must kill the master and take their place, ensuring that each generation grows stronger than the last. On a night 5 years after your initiation, while your master meditates in the tomb's deepest chamber, you make your move. Your red blade pierces his back, the strike precise and instantly fatal, severing his spine and rupturing his heart. He gasps, not in pain, but in something that sounds almost like pride. Sound good. You're ready. Blood froths at his lips as he dies, and you feel his presence in the Force fade like smoke dispersing. You are now the master, and the apprentice has become the teacher. According to Sith tradition, you must find your own student, someone with Force potential and the psychological vulnerability necessary for corruption. You will train them through the same brutality you endured, breaking them down and rebuilding them as instruments of the dark side. The cycle continues, as it has for thousands of years, master teaching apprentice, apprentice eventually killing master, the new master finding a new apprentice. An endless chain of betrayal and murder that the Sith call progress and evolution. Now, you stand on the command deck of your ship, a modified corvette that serves as mobile base, and you look out at the stars through the viewport. Somewhere in the galaxy, a Force-sensitive child or failed Padawan or disillusioned soldier will become your apprentice. You will find them, seduce them with promises of power, and subject them to the same torture that shaped you. They will hate you for it, as you hated your master. And eventually, if they are strong enough, they will kill you as you killed him. This is the way of the Sith. You catch a reflection in the darkened viewport. A gaunt figure in black robes, face hidden in shadow except for burning yellow eyes, hands that occasionally spark with residual lightning. You are 32 years old and look twice that. Your body is failing, consumed from within by the dark side's corrosive power. You have perhaps 20 years left before the corruption kills you, and those years will be spent in service to an ideology of domination and betrayal. Sometimes, in moments between missions when your mind is not occupied with violence or scheming, you remember Kale Verin, the Padawan who loved the Jedi Order, who believed in justice and compassion, who wanted to protect the innocent. That person died years ago, murdered piece by piece through systematic brutality and forced atrocity. What remains is Darth Ravis, a creature of pure dark side energy wrapped in failing flesh, powerful beyond anything the Padawan could have imagined, but empty in ways that power cannot fill. The irony is bitter. You sought strength to prevent another loss like Master Kerr's death, but the path to that strength required you to lose everything else. Your identity, your humanity, your capacity for connection or joy. You are powerful enough now to kill dozens of Jedi, to bend weak minds to your will, to rain destruction on your enemies. But you're also alone in a way that transcends physical isolation, cut off from every positive emotion, incapable of love or trust or peace. The dark side gave you power and took your soul as payment, and you cannot even regret the transaction, because regret requires empathy you no longer possess. The galaxy continues its war, Jedi and Sith locked in their ancient conflict, and you are an instrument of darkness in that war, recruiting others to your master's cause, corrupting the vulnerable, spreading suffering that feeds the dark side's endless hunger. And somewhere out there, your future apprentice lives unknowing, perhaps a child playing with toys, perhaps a Jedi questioning their path, perhaps a soldier who has seen too much death. You will find them eventually. You will offer them power. And if they accept, you will drag them through the same hell that forged you, because that is what Sith do. They create monsters who create more monsters. An infinite regression of suffering that serves no purpose beyond its own perpetuation. This is the truth about becoming a dark side apprentice that no Sith will admit. It is not ascension, but descent, not empowerment, but enslavement to hatred and pain. Not freedom, but the ultimate bondage to appetites that can never be satisfied. The power is real, the abilities genuine, but the cost is everything that makes life worth living. You are proof that Sith philosophy works. You are stronger than any Jedi of your generation, and also proof that it fails, because your strength is hollow, and your victories meaningless, and your existence is an endless gray void, punctuated by moments of violence that provide only temporary distraction from the emptiness. The stars shine cold and distant through the viewport, and you wonder if the apprentice you will someday train will kill you quickly or slowly, will feel satisfaction or emptiness when your blood stains their blade. You hope they kill you quickly, though you will never tell them that. And you know they will eventually face their own apprentice's betrayal, continuing the cycle that stretches back to the ancient Sith and forward into a future where nothing changes except the names of the monsters. This is what you have become. This is what the dark side makes of those who embrace it. Power without purpose, strength without satisfaction, eternity without peace. You are Darth Ravis, Sith Lord, and you are proof that sometimes the worst prisons are the ones we build inside ourselves, that sometimes the cruelest torturers are the philosophies we choose to believe, and that sometimes the only thing worse than weakness is the strength gained by sacrificing everything that made strength worth having. The ship's Navy computer chimes, indicating arrival at the next destination, another world with another mission, another opportunity to spread darkness and corruption. You turn from the viewport and stride toward the bridge, your black robes flowing behind you, your yellow eyes burning with power and emptiness in equal measure. The cycle continues, as it always has, as it always will, until the galaxy itself burns or the Sith finally consume themselves completely. And in the tomb on Korriban, the altar waits for the next apprentice, the next oath, the next soul traded for power that will never satisfy the hunger it creates.